Update: Optus has offered the most affected customers a form of compensation. Read more here.EARLIER. Optus customers whose data was harvested in a large-scale security breach have been contacted by the telco as their personal information is held ransom by the supposed hacker. It comes as the federal government looks to shore up new protections that would mean banks and other institutions would be informed much faster when a data breach happens. Watch the latest news on Channel 7 or stream for free on 7+. Watch the video above. Optus suffers major data breach. The telco last Thursday admitted its systems had been infiltrated, leaving some 9.8 million current and former customers' information vulnerable. On Friday, a user on an online notice board under the pseudonym Optus Data issued an ultimatum. The ransom, it said it would sell the data on the dark web unless Optus paid it $1 million, $1 Australian dollar. 53 meters, in cryptocurrency. Global IT security expert Jeremy Kirk told 7 News he found the ransom note and is worried about what might happen if the hacker's demands aren't met. It could be used for a variety of scams and the effects could last years, he said. It could affect our credit record for years if people try to take out loans in their name. The post attached offered the details of 200 customers as a matter of verification. Kirk approached a woman who was included in the list and asked if it was all true. There was a woman working in her front yard and I had printed out her data and I said, "Is this your data?" And she said, "Yes, that's my data." The hackers were able to access the data without needing a login or password, Kirk said. How exactly that gap in security was left open is still under investigation. If the data goes on sale online at the end of the week, the Australian Federal Police will be watching. A spokesperson said, "It is an offence to buy stolen credentials. Those who do face a penalty of up to 10 years imprisonment." Calls for compensation. The breach has resulted in calls for compensation for affected customers. But, for the time being, there's been no indication that Optus will be offering any compensation. Consumer data advocate at Choice Kate Bauer told 7news.com.au that customers deserved compensation, but the law didn't mandate it. There are 2 things to consider here. 1, which is what does the law say on this issue? And the law says that they don't have to offer compensation, she said. But I think the other point is, what does the customer expect? And we know that a large number of people have been affected and that this is a serious breach in the type of information that's been breached. It's not just something that's easily changeable like your username or your password. These are things like your passport or your driver's license number or your date of birth, things that are key identification factors and are just a goldmine for identity theft. But these are things that either you can't change, like your date of birth, or to change them, you need to pay a cost. So, I think it's completely fair that customers expect some sort of remedy from Optus, and I think compensation, in this case, would be fair. And I think we need to think about penalties as well. Bauer suggested the telco also allow people to terminate their contract early if they would like to leave. Customers on Twitter have reported that they requested compensation for the cost of replacing their driver's licenses but were refused. Optus, which began contacting its millions of customers on Friday, apologized for the breach. It said getting information out through news channels was the quickest and most effective way to alert customers and communicate the severity of the situation. What to do? Optus in a statement on Monday morning said it had contacted every customer who had been impacted by the breach. We continue to reach out to customers who have had other details, such as their email address, illegally accessed. We understand and apologize for the concern that this has caused for our customers. Payment detail and account passwords have not been compromised as a result of this attack. Customers are being warned to be additionally vigilant for suspicious text messages and emails in the coming weeks. In correspondence seen by 7news.com.au between a customer service worker and a victim, the customer is told to be aware for scammers. Optus will not be sending links in any emails or SMS messages to you, the service worker wrote. If you receive one asking you to visit a link, it may be a scammer. Never click on any links that look suspicious, and don't provide your passwords or any personal or financial information in these instances. Action being taken. The breach is forcing the federal government to take action. Privacy rules would be overhauled so that banks can be alerted faster following cyber attacks. This is a huge wake-up call for the corporate sector in terms of protecting the data, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told Brisbane Radio 4BC. We know that in today's world there are actors, some state actors but also some criminal organizations, who want to get access to people's data. Cybersecurity Minister Claire O'Neil said at the weekend more details about the changes would be announced by the government in the coming days. Treasurer Jim Chalmers said the government was working to make sure it was responding adequately. If there are changes to the arrangements that need to be made in the future, the minister will make that clear. Beefing up cybersecurity was a prominent feature in the 2020 federal budget, with $1.66 billion allocated over a decade to fortifying network infrastructure.